This is Dirty Money. And first up, Mike, we are going to talk about Elon Musk, right?
Oh yeah, he's
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
had an interesting week. I mean, from his tweet with saying that Bob Lee was murdered by repeat offenders, and to his interview with the BBC, and to him launching a new way for creators to generate income on Twitter, kind of like a subscription service. So it's very
Let's
interesting to really think about what he's doing now.
let's talk about the Bob Lee thing first. So Bob Lee, in case people at home don't know, he was the CEO of Cash App, who was tragically murdered. He was stabbed in San Francisco last week, I think it was. And Elon Musk, do we have Musk's tweet about it? What did he say? He said basically it was likely done by a repeat offender.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was more than likely done by a repeat offender. I think he was kind of referring to the crime rates that were just taking place in San Francisco. I mean, in his
Yeah.
BBC interview, he went into all of that.
Yeah, so apparently that's not true, though. Now the San Francisco police have said that it's well, they've arrested someone, a tech executive, or I can't remember what the guy was, what his title was, but they've arrested someone who knows the CEO of Cash App, who allegedly stabbed him. So it seems like, to do with a conflict between them, or perhaps this person is even working for some other bad actors or something. We just don't know yet. But it seems like it wasn't just a random murder on the street. And that's kind of what I said at the beginning when we first heard about this. It's like, whenever a CEO gets murdered, that there's got to be more to it than just, someone, tries to rob him and the robbery goes wrong and they end up stabbing him. I never really thought it was that.
I mean, things like that do happen, but it just seems too coincidental with the Fed now, the CBDC,
Yeah.
and this guy is like basically the
Well, that's
founder
right.
of
Yeah.
instant transfer of money. Like, he's the one that was like, hey, you can do this instantly. Creates the number one used cash app. I mean, it might not be now. Venmo, PayPal might have taken it all over, but Cash App's there.
FedNow. In case you guys at home don't know, FedNow is the Fed's new instant payment system that's coming out this summer in July, I believe. Because right now, if you want to do ACH transfer through your bank, it takes overnight to clear and stuff. But the Fed is actually coming out with instant payments. Obviously, Cash App is a huge competition to that, because they've been providing instant payments for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, however long they've been in operation. So it is very very coincidental and convenient that he gets murdered right around the time FedNow is coming out.
Yeah, it's kind of scary actually to think about it. It happens right around then, but who knows? It could have been some random act. We don't know what his personal life was like, but fundamentally, Fed now. I wonder if it's going to pertain to individuals or if it's just between banks. I haven't really looked into that too much. Have
Well,
you?
I think it's starting between banks, but that means the banks could potentially extend it to individuals, doesn't it? Because it's the businesses that, if the bank now then provides the service, the Fed now payment can go through your bank to whoever they're paying potentially. So I think it's going to be to everyone, basically. It's going to, maybe individuals won't use the service through the Fed's platform. Maybe you'll use it through your bank's platform. But I think it's going to be accessible through your bank, just like ACH transfer, wire transfer, etc. Like
Fed now.
Zelle, just like Chase has Zelle built into it. Maybe
Yeah.
Chase or whoever will have FedNow built into it.
Or it'll be Zelle powered by Fed now.
Powered by Zelle, powered by FedNow, branded as Chase.
Yeah. Whatever way that they can make it look good, they're gonna do that to the best of their abilities.
So anyway, Elon Musk got in trouble for that. Tragic, obviously, that the founder of Cash App has been murdered. I mean, yeah, terrible story. But it does seem like there's a little bit more into it. But let's move on to Elon Musk's the whole situation with how Twitter's going and stuff, because he did an interesting interview with the BBC. And he talked about how much revenue had dropped and stuff. So he explains to the BBC reporter that Twitter had a $3 billion negative cash flow. It had $1 billion in the bank, and it basically had 4 months to live when he took it over. But actually, advertisers are coming back. That's what he said. He said most advertisers have come back. He's introduced the paid blue checkmark thing. And that's obviously given them some money. And he said they're probably going to be cash flow positive this quarter.
Well, not only that, he's brought in the new right Twitter or Twitter right, where you can put up to 10,000 characters in there and put in articles. It's like the whole basis of what Twitter was founded on by Jack Dorsey is completely changed. It is no longer what it was anymore. I mean, you got 2-hour videos, we've got 10,000 characters. It's like Twitter's not that anymore. He was asked, though, if he could sell Twitter for $44 billion now, would he do it? And he paused and he said no, which I thought was a big
What would
deal
be the point?
because, yeah, well, it would get him out of debt. I mean, he sold a lot of Tesla stock that he didn't want to sell. Tesla stock went down because of him.
Well, he sold it to buy Twitter, which from the very beginning was kind of an activist move, wasn't it? It was never for the money. So I think, yeah, I never would believe he would really sell. I think he's doing it for a reason, for free speech. That's what he has said.
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah, that's what he said at the interview. Is if he was to sell it, it would have to be somebody that he trusted would still follow the free speech platform and not censor people based on that. And he got scrutinized pretty well by this interviewee. You know, it's pretty interesting.
I thought it was funny though, because the interviewer was trying to like say that there was hate speech on his For You feed, and you know, like Twitter, Elon Musk is like, well, give me an example, and then he's like, he's all stuttering, you know, and then he's like, well, you know, I haven't actually used that feed because I don't like it. I haven't used it for like a month. And then, and then Elon's, well, why didn't you use it? What was the hate speech you saw that made you not like it? And the guy's like, well, I don't know specific. All this stuttering.
He said slight instances of sexism and racism.
Yeah. I think Elon's like, if something's slightly sexist, should it be banned?
Right. And if so, Elon's whole Twitter needs to probably go down today. You know.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So it's interesting to really look at the whole situation with them and to recognize, you know, Twitter's not for children, you know, so it's like,
and that's the thing. That's the funny thing. There's actual pornography on Twitter, which I think is crazy, right?
Yeah, like, no, that to me definitely is not acceptable.
Yeah, and no one asks about that, but no one says anything. Like the BBC, they should be saying, Elon, are you getting rid of the pornography that's on Twitter instead of, something slightly sexist or slightly racist? It's like this. Children can look at pornography on Twitter. Like it's right there. You know, obviously you have to be over 18 probably, right? But everyone fakes their age when they sign up for any website anyway, right? And if you're under 18. So it's totally accessible. It's crazy.
Yeah. No. They're just using buzzwords, sexist and racist, right? And that's all they're focused on is the stimulation and the division of our society. And that's kind of the sad point of view is that, you know, whether it's the BBC, whether it's Twitter, whether it's whatever platform, whatever media, it seems like they're all leaning towards divisiveness for society. And it's like fundamentally we're all human beings. So we shouldn't be sitting.
Yeah, the BBC, they're complaining, aren't they, about being labeled as government funded. And that's why they did the interview, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the funny thing is, I noticed on YouTube, when I was watching the interview on BBC's YouTube channel, it says the same thing on YouTube. It says the BBC is affiliated with the British government or something like that. In fact, I think I've got it right here. No, I haven't. But it said, yeah, it literally says BBC is a British government broadcaster. And it's like, they're not complaining about that. Why are they complaining to Twitter, but they're not complaining to YouTube, right? It's because of Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, and the same thing with NPR here in the States, where you have National Public Radio. It receives federal, state funding. I mean,
it was created by an act of Congress, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. So it's like, well, it's just reality. Like you can call it whatever you want. We'd like to think that it was unbiased. We'd like to think such and such about it, but the funding it receives is from the government. You know, in 2012, Obama turned around and said, you know, entertainment is now the news doesn't have to back up their quotes. They can be considered entertainment. So,
Yeah.
you have to really understand how media works now and how it has worked for the last decade. And where they get their funding from is obviously people of interest, just like lobbying for political position and anywhere in the world. You're spending money so that you can get the right bills passed to fund whatever kind of business you have and what you want to do. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Basically, there is no objective media anymore, is there? It's really just, if you want objectiveness, you got to listen to a few different media
Yeah.
organizations from different sides and then make up your own mind what you believe.
Yeah, which what actually might be better because you don't really know if they were objective to begin with.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so that's Elon. Definitely a big week for him. I love following him on Twitter.